Thank you for joining us on today's edition of the program platform. Today we shall be taking a look at tertiary institution here in Plateau State. But first, let us also remember that it's a coronavirus pandemic around the world, and for us here, we need to also be careful. Each time you're going out, make sure you wear a mask, a face mask, and then wash your hands with running water for at least 20 seconds. Observe social distancing. And if you don't have any reason to go out, stay indoors. My name is Yakubu Tadi. We have a guest here who will be talking to us about something big is about to happen in one of the tertiary institutions here in Plateau State. So normally we ask our guests to introduce themselves. Can you tell our viewer who you are?
Well, thank you very much for the invitation to be here. My name is Yohanna Daniel Izam. I'm the Vice Chancellor of Plateau State University, Bokkos, Professor of Construction Management. I think basically that's me.
Well, normally on this program we'd like to take a little about the guest background, but for the purpose of today, we'll bring you some time for people to know more about you, so that we'll have enough time to talk about the Plateau State University. The Plateau State University, 2005 till date, 15 years so to say.
Yes.
It also has its own ups and downs within the 15 years. At 15, a teenager,
yes.
People will say, if you look at in terms of a human person, you could say that's a teenager. He should be up and running. How fast is this child running?
Well, thank you very much. 2005 to now, like you said, is 15 years. For any realistic assessment of the Plateau State University project, I think it's important that we get the background to its establishment. And before 2005, stakeholders have noticed the abysmal performance of Plateau State candidates in university enrollment nationwide. Part of it is the effect that when you look at the simple national average of 2.6%, Plateau State was contributing less than 1% to university enrollment. And the problem then was that there was problem of access in terms of the limited opportunities in the catchment area. The University of Jos was not providing all the opportunities for qualified candidates from Plateau State. When I say Plateau State, I'm not just talking about indigenes of Plateau. I'm talking about competent and qualified candidates that are resident within Plateau State. And so, to the extent that we were doing so abysmal in university enrollment, there was then a need to look at the issue of expanding access to tertiary education. And so, by 2005, the university started basically to expand opportunities and access to our young people to be able to gain admission to read various courses in the university. So to the extent that we are presently talking about graduation of hundreds and even thousands of candidates, in terms of the primary focus of a university, I think that baby is growing very well. A lot is being achieved. The vision of the founding fathers are being fulfilled by the day, and we hope that this will continue to expand as the time goes by.
So how well is that growth? Because it could be relative when you say the baby is going very well.
Well, it is not without, of course, cost and challenges. In terms of the aspirations, we probably will have been doing better than this. But like you are very well aware, the history of the university has also been challenged by circumstances that were not quite favorable. Part of it is the insecurity challenges that continue to be dealt with the university. Secondly, we had also have periods of interregnum. There was a time the project was even suspended for some time, and students were transferred to other universities. You also have challenges of limitations on even resources to expand facilities. And so, yes, in relative terms, we could say that the vision has been challenged, but we will still thank God for the little progresses that have been made. We hope that in the years to come, much more will be achieved.
Well, that massive landscape, I remember that the foundation laying ceremony and the solitary building that emerged later. But today you pass through, you could see like a construction site, the entire area, things are springing up. How are you going about this?
Well, like we did, by the grace of God, projected 2.5 years ago when we came as leaders in the university. Our vision was that the next couple of years should see to the fulfillment of the current concern of stakeholders, which is the expansion of the university project. Because after 15 years, you could still not be talking about just 4 faculties. A university becomes more beautiful when there is diversity of programs, when there is opportunities for access into various disciplines. And we dream to become someday the ABUs and the universities of Ibadan and so on. If you go to University of Ibadan today, there is virtually no course in this universe that is not being taught. And the university is a center of knowledge creation, it's a center of excellence. And so every field of intellectual inquiry should have a platform for articulation in a university setup. And so when you talk about the 4-faculty university after 15 years, the stakeholder concerns about the expansion of this scenario has to be taken into account. And we are hoping very soon this will happen, perhaps from 4 faculties in the next couple of years to a minimum of about 7 or 8 faculties.
What are the talking points of the strategic plan, and for how long is the strategic plan? At what point is it supposed to elapse to begin to look at the fresh, this is where we want to take the university to?
Well, strategic plans operate in circles. We have had probably the first and second cycle of strategic plan. I think unofficially, formally, we may not have had that documented in terms of the trajectory of in the next 30 years. But at the point where we are, we have a strategic plan cycle which we started working on by 2018, which we call the PLASU PIP, Project Innovation Program. And the talking points, one of it of course is the dream to expand programs. We hope in the next 5 years from 2018, we should be talking about 4 times 2 faculties, that is it. And to start with, like you mentioned, construction has started for 3 new faculties. The Faculty of Law is one of it, Faculty of Environmental Science is another, and we have also Faculty of Health Sciences. We hope moving forward in this cycle of 5 years that we are looking at, perhaps agriculture will also come in, and then we will then have at least 8 faculties, and then probably in another cycle of strategic planning, we could now take the next another 3 or 4 faculties. And I think this is how the university continues to expand until that very important statement comes out from Plateau State in terms of excellence in educational achievement.
So how important is convocation within the university circles? Because I do remember I witnessed the first one for the joint convocation, and since then nothing has been heard of the convocation. How symbolic and important is convocation, and when should we look forward to another convocation?
Well, the term convocation comes from the Latin word convocia, which is the calling of people together. In its university usage, it has come to denote a number of activities. One of it is the program through which certificates and degrees are awarded to graduates. In the past and in some traditions, convocations have been used to do some other things, but in the context of our own university and in Nigeria generally, convocations are important because it is the calling together of people to award degrees and certificates. to graduating students. So if you look at the life of a student who must have spent like 4 years, the hard work, the resourcefulness of the teachers, and the environment that was created, the transformation that has taken place in the life of a young person from a secondary school leaver to a university material. It's only at convocation that you announce the outcome of all of those efforts of not less than 4 years that have been put in the life of individuals. And so you couldn't award certificates without a convocation ceremony, because by the law, for instance, of the Plateau State University, Section 7, subsection 13.5, the functions of convocation are well spelled out. And so to the extent that the crowning of the efforts of both teachers and students and the entire system itself is reflected in the ceremony called convocation, there is no way that the progress we made by the university in terms of production of manpower can be accessed if there is no convocation ceremony. So convocations are very important. You have mentioned, of course, the challenges of having regular convocations. The law says that as much as possible annually, but because of the large constraints, logistic constraints that sometimes affect the calendars, sometimes it's insecurity challenges, sometimes it's disruptions in the smooth conduct of academic calendars, you find out that these convocations are not being regularly held. And it's not peculiar to just Plateau State University. So a number of times you hear of combined convocations, yes, because outstanding numbers of previous convocations now have to be matched together. But looking forward, we hope that we'll regularize the convocation of the Plateau State University so that on an annual basis, we will come out with the outcome of the efforts of the university in terms of the graduates, the degrees that are being awarded, whether by way of scholarship or honorary degrees that will be awarded in a convocation. And I think this important statement is part of the traditions and culture of the university.
I noted one point you raised about challenges, disruptions that could cause delay in having convocations. We're having a global disruption in the way we live and how we live. You've not told us yet whether you are going to have a convocation, and if you're going to have, how will this be, given that we have the coronavirus challenge?
Well, thank you very much for this important observation. First of all, we are going to have the 3rd, 4th, and 5th combined convocation of the Plateau State University. By the grace of God, in a day or two, on Saturday, but it's going to be a virtual convocation for the same reason that you have mentioned. The COVID-19 protocols will no longer allow for the calling together of a large crowd of people. In this case, the large numbers of students, they are well-wishers and also well-wishers of the university. And so we will have a virtual convocation, and the virtual reality of it will be transmitted online. That is not to diminish the fact that the entire convocants, the graduating students, are being contacted to participate from their various locations. But the traditions and the procedures and the protocols of convocation will be done, only that this time is going to be an online program. So convocation is happening, but it's going to be a virtual convocation.
That brings to the question of how ICT compliant is the university. I'm sure if you're going to do something like that, it definitely means the university as well has the necessary infrastructure to be able to reach out to the students.
Well, the university is not doing badly ICT-wise. I can say right away that since about 2 years ago, when the governing council approved an ICT policy for the Plateau State University, we have tried to expand the ICT governance structures within the university to the extent that quite a number of innovations are being mounted to mainstream that into the life, various aspects of the life of the university. For instance, preparation and presentation of results as much as possible. Make use of ICT platforms. We are also deepening the opportunity for using ICT platforms in delivering of lectures. We have not gotten there yet, but some level of activism have started in that regard. The ICT unit of the university is also being upgraded to make sure that it copes with the present challenges. Of course, this is an ongoing concern and will continue to improve. For the convocation, we are also into partnership. ICT partners coming in also to reinforce what we have in our ICT units in terms of provision of bigger and larger platforms through which this can be done. But of course, like you know, the ICT platforms are universal platforms. You could engage Zoom for a meeting. You don't need much special training for that, for instance. So to the extent that this global enterprise that is available for any interested learner, I think the university is doing well and is good to go as far as this convocation is concerned.
What number of students are we, graduates are we looking at, and how would they, you've talked about some social media handles, that's how they'll access it. So what of those who are not part of that and they would want to, yes, it's a big ceremony. Normally, if we are not for COVID-19, yes, I'm sure Bokkos would have been filled up right up to just for people who would want to come. So what number are you looking at, and how do you reach other people who are not graduates?
Well, for the 3rd, 4th, and 5th combined convocation, we are graduating a total of about 1,514 candidates across 17 programs. Well, for us, that's a huge number, and we give glory to God that we have reached a point where we can do this. You remember in the first convocation, we were talking about just 300 and something candidates for the first and second combined convocation. Then one of the programs have not actually come on board, but now we have all 17 programs delivering outcomes in terms of graduates. It's big for us, but it's still not too big for the current platforms that we have to do this online. And I think that it serves also as a blessing to us. So the various social media handles that we expect to use, we hope can be accessed by many of our students. We are also looking at to include primarily the television, which will be available to most of them. And don't forget also that even when you have physical convocations, it is not possible to have 100% attendance, even by those who are convocating, because some of them will have gotten careers and jobs that will have taken them outside the vicinity of the university, and for some reasons not everybody will come. But usually what we do in a convocation is that the dean will normally stand proxy for candidates who are not around or who will not for any reason be online as of the time of broadcasting this visual convocation. And but any other time they are available, their certificates certainly from next week will be ready for them to come and collect, and that will be the primary achievement for us as a university.
So I know much efforts have been made by the visitor to the university, who happens to be His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Plateau State, Right Honorable Barrister Simon Lalo, in ensuring that there's transformation in the school. And how excited is he about this development?
Well, we are grateful to the visitor to the university. Certainly, we have his 100% approval for this program to take on, and even the timing and the date was such that he personally wanted to ensure that it was convenient to stakeholders, including himself. He wants to be in Jos when this will happen, and we have fixed it in such a way that he will also be virtually present in the convocation. His Excellency, the Governor, having put in so much effort to the development of the university, particularly in the last 6 years, will have wished that for the COVID, this was also a physical activity, given that it will also give opportunity to showcase physically some of the developments that are happening in the university. But nonetheless, he's still very excited about this program. He's going to deliver a speech at Convocation virtually, and he has also said by the next Convocation he will be physically present, even as we pray that this COVID will have been done with by that time. So he's excited about it, and so is the university.
I know he's by training he's a lawyer. At the first Convocation I was there, and he also spoke about law, establishing the faculty of law. To what extent has this? Is there any progress on that pronouncement?
Well, the Faculty of Law building at least has started. Like you are aware, the project has started in earnest. As we speak now, the project is probably approaching about 50% completion, which is a good milestone, seeing that it was only a few months that we did the foundation breaking ceremony for the Faculty of Law building. And so it is probably a double joy for His Excellency, seeing that the promise that he made in the last Convocation is also coming to fruition. He has also approved 150 million for the remodeling of the multipurpose hall, which is being remodeled as the Faculty of Law multipurpose auditorium. So the jump-starting of this project simultaneously means that we are doing very well, and we hope that the law program of PLASU is not only coming on board very quickly, but at the end of the day, it is one faculty that we hope to make a very loud statement in terms of legal practice and legal profession in Nigeria.
So the human capital and manpower, you talk about infrastructure. What is the position with the training and also recruitment process in terms of meeting them? Because the minimum for most tertiary institutions now is a master's degree, and mostly they're looking for people with PhD. So what are you doing to upgrade the quality of manpower?
Well, thank you very much. The creation of new knowledge cannot happen without requisite manpower. And the greatest asset of any university, admittedly, is the quality of its manpower. And so we are very mindful of the fact that we have not just to generate quality manpower, but also to retain them through processes of motivation and creation of enabling environment for them to prosper in their research engagement. Luckily for us, we want to unreservedly also thank funding partners, particularly the presidential interventions, the Tertiary Education Trust Fund. Over the last couple of years, I can assure you that not less than about 30 of our trainees from all over the world who are on various sponsorships for PhDs have returned to the university. And another 30 are presently also, about 30 are also presently undergoing various courses, both in African and European universities all over the world. And so we envisage that this aggressive policy of manpower development that we are pursuing is one that will give results in the years to come. But certainly every university has a life cycle experience. This will not happen in a day, because producing a PhD takes time. Producing a professor takes time. It's not something that you fetch from terminus. And then not all universities will be ready to release their senior people who must have been established in teaching and research in all their universities. So for us, we are looking at the prospects that the future portends, given the fact that already there's a mechanism on ground for training manpower, which is already giving results in the various departments.
Well, we would want to discuss more and many things about the university, but incidentally, this is talking about an upcoming celebration. So we will not be looking at problems and challenges that are there. So what are other things that the expectations that people should look out for in this virtual convocation that is upcoming?
Well, the primary focus for us are basically one, the 1,514 candidates, you couldn't use a testimonial for more than a certain number of years, and you discover that some employers also are rejecting testimonials and statements of results. So to the extent that we are coming up to ensure that the proper certificates are given to people who have earned them, not just in learning but also in character. To us is the biggest celebration of this convocation. It then means that we are certifying 1,514 change agents, ambassadors of the university who have been properly trained to contribute their quotas in various fields of human endeavor. We have all the goodwill of the entire industry coming in. The Chancellor of the university, Oba Jimo Adeumi Ajegumbade III, the Sheun of Ogbomosho, could not be here physically, but he has sent in his goodwill to the university at this occasion of the visual convocation. Like I said, the visitor to the university will also be there to make a speech and to make a statement on this occasion of the convocation of the university. Beyond that, the other ceremonies are now going to be segmented into the various homes of the candidates who will be celebrating with their families, and we are using the Zoom platform to capture all of that, and we hope that by the time that the whole occasion is aired, we'll be able to see the ceremonies that are taking place in the various homes of our students who are now graduates in this particular ceremony.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you very much.
On this beautiful note, we have to end this convocation, and we wish you a very successful joint convocation.
Thank you very much.
We've been having a discussion with the Vice Chancellor of Plateau State University, Bokkos, Professor Yohanna Izam, on the upcoming convocation. And as we wrap up, you have to remember about the protocols for COVID-19. Ensure you always wear a face mask as you go out. Also make sure that you wash your hands at least for 20 seconds. Also maintain social distance in whatever you do. If you don't have a reason to go out, make sure you stay indoors. I remain yours sincerely, Yakubu Tadi. We'll be here with another guest next week. Thank you for watching.